rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire. Like a bright shining light. Learn. Getting more out of life. Love. Sharing time with friends. Feeling so strong.
Hello and welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy, excited to be here for another great show alongside two of my great friends. Welcome to Joe Stanley and Luke Hines. Hello, guys.
Great to see you, friends.
Always good to be alongside you two. Hines, you and I are going to take a step back today because March the 8th is International Women's Day, which celebrates the achievements of women everywhere.
Exactly right, mate. And the women in our lives are doing incredible things. Perfect time to actually say, Mum, I love you. Thank you for being my inspiration. It's an exciting day to celebrate.
It absolutely is. The International Women's Day has been staged by the United Nations since 1911. But more than a century later, it hurts me to say so much work still needs to be done. So this year's theme is Generation Equality. Let's all, men and women, work together to create a world where females of every age have equal access to education, income and opportunities to fulfil their potential. Excuse me, I'm very emotional. But we've got a taste of all those things on the show today, Darcy.
Yeah, well said, Joe. And beginning with someone who's shattering perceptions of what young women can do, she has really boldly gone where very few people can. Can you welcome polar explorer Jade Meister's with us. Jade, thanks for joining us in the House of Wellness.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jade.
Hey, Jade, let's tick off a few of your many achievements. It's extraordinary. You're the youngest person in history to complete the polar hat trick by skiing to the North Pole, the South Pole and crossing the planet's second largest polar ice cap, Greenland, all at the age of 14. What was the inspiration for doing all that?
Well, I was born into a very adventurous family, so I think that sort of was the main reason behind beginning it all. Like, we were always sort of doing adventures together when I was younger. But I did meet one lady in particular on our trip to Everest Base Camp when I was 12. Her name's Villa. She's from Iceland, and she sort of was the spark for me deciding to do my own adventure, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
How amazing that she had that impact on you while you were at base camp. I mean, you know, when you're
12,
that's
yeah.
right. So my daughter is 11 and I have trouble getting her to get out on the bike some weekends, but at 14, you were heading off doing this incredible adventuring. What did your parents say? Were they worried for you?
Well, my dad came along with me on all three, so he was, I think, pretty excited. But Mum, being a mum, obviously she had her worries, but she eventually got over that and she's very supportive. So
Jay, can I just say the 14-year-old age, I've got a 14-year-old daughter and it's an interesting time, father-daughter relationships. You're out there in the freezing cold polar ice caps. You and your dad have any moments out there?
I mean, at 14 it was all right because I would sort of listen to Dad. I think he knew what he was doing. At 16 on the last trip, it was probably pretty challenging being this close to Dad at night in the tent where you couldn't go to your room or escape because
couldn't
it was
storm off anywhere.
Yeah, it was so cold outside. Yeah, that was pretty challenging.
Now, Jade, am I right that you had no experience in skiing before any of this?
Yeah, no one in our family had skied before.
That is absolutely full on because you're traversing these incredible locations and landscapes. No experience skiing. What gave you this grit and this fire inside to keep you going?
I mean, definitely I had my doubts when I first took on the adventure, but it was just exciting learning how to ski and then learning how to do everything else that came with it. So it kind of just pushed me to keep going.
Did you find qualities inside yourself that you didn't know you had?
I mean, definitely on the last two trips when I was a little bit older and because I had a lot of time in my head with my own thoughts, particularly on the Greenland expedition, which was 27 days. My Spotify disconnected or logged me out, so I had no music for the 27 days and we were skiing 8 hours a day.
Right, that's true talk.
So yeah. So the voice in your head definitely gets to you at sometimes. But I was skiing with our camera assistant Heath Jamison, who's an ex-Special Forces, and he gave me some crazy insights to the mind and how it's lazy, and so I think I learned a lot about my mind through him and through the time that I had with my thoughts.
What an incredibly powerful thing for you to take into your future as an adult. You must feel like you can do anything now.
maybe.
You put the pressure on Joe.
Humble and inspirational. Jade,
Yes.
I believe climate change is something you're really passionate about. Was that a driving force in part of what you did to spread that message, and is it still a passion for you?
I think, like, before I started the whole journey, it wasn't so much on my mind, but definitely after the first North Pole trek, I sort of came to the realisation that it was such a big issue, definitely experiencing it firsthand. And then as the journey progressed, I kept seeing things that made me realise that it was quite a big issue, and then I became more passionate about it.
What did you see out there that made you worry about the climate?
Well, North Pole, there's open water leads, which is where the sea ice splits and you can see the open water.
Yeah.
And at deepest, the ice is 2 metres out there. And the ice kept breaking up when we were trying to land on the runway. So the season was delayed by 2 weeks, I think, and that had never happened before. Yeah. And then South Pole, we had the worst conditions in our guide's 25 years of guiding experience. So I think those sort of stuff, it just it makes you realise that it is happening.
Hey Jade, the world needs more people like you. It gives us great inspiration and hope for the next generation. Can you stay with us? Jade's our special guest today, which is brilliant. No, I didn't give her a chance to answer. She's sticking around. We want to hear more from Jade. After the break, meet a young woman who's literally overcome the mountain of rubbish to change her life. That's next here on the House of Wellness.
That is
Beautifully done.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it.
Welcome back. Today is International Women's Day and we're celebrating with a truly remarkable female working to bring about equality and change like Jade Meister, who's with us today. Jade, we love having you on the House of Wellness. I want to ask you, after all the expeditions you've done, how's your diet recover from something like that and how is it today?
I think definitely pretty quickly. I love my food. I think the first thing I ate after all 3 expeditions was ice cream.
Really?
Which is kind of funny. But, yeah, our family loves ice cream.
Yeah, fair enough.
Don't blame you.
Yes, absolutely. And what about sleep? Sleep is super important to me, and I have seen images of climbers who pitch their tents, against a vertical face. How are you sleeping in the conditions that you're in?
Well, we were sleeping in tents, so Dad and I were in one tent, but we were planning to go to bed each night at 10 o'clock and then we'd set an alarm for 6 in the morning. But I sort of, I would always stay up a bit later, writing my diary or, just pottering around. So I'd probably only get, 6-7 hours sleep every night.
Wow.
And unbelievably, maybe not surprisingly, anyone who does something extraordinary in this current world, you face small-minded trolls. But tell us about the perfect response you had on Instagram. Let's have a look at some of the photos of you. And what did that mean, Jade?
So this photo was in response to some of the comments on my TEDx talk, which I gave when I was 15. And the talk was focused on inspiring young women to be more rather than less. And it was posted on YouTube, and then it wasn't until a couple of years after, before the South Pole trek, that my friend pointed out that there were a few comments under the video saying get back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
Disgusting.
And at 16, I sort of had to laugh, but I feel there was that underlying message that I kept thinking about when I was struggling on the 37-day trip. That when I got to the end, I asked the male chef at the kitchen at the South Pole to make a sandwich to then take a photo with at the South Pole.
You know what I love is your
Well done.
positive response to that. And let's not forget that amongst all of that, you were carrying a sled on your back equal to your body weight across 3 expeditions, 4 months on ice. How did you train for that? I mean, I want your training tips right now.
Yeah, the training was definitely quite intense. We were training 4 or 5 times a week, pulling sleds on the beach, pulling tyres, sorry.
Yep.
And then we were doing conditioning training, so weights and stairs, and it was a lot of endurance training, sort of making us comfortable with what it would actually be like.
What are your thoughts on how to achieve better equality?
I think the most important thing we can be doing to achieve equality is educating and empowering women. And I think, like, especially International Women's Day should be a call to action. Well, for me, it's a call to action rather than a celebration. I think there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think, like, to empower young women, especially, to be more rather than less, and to, like, expand possibilities and think beyond how they appear, I guess.
Yeah, well said, Jade. Amazing to have you with us today. Our next story is just as uplifting as Jade's. We've seen the images of Cambodia's notorious Smoky Mountain landfill, that towering monolith of putrid rubbish, and the people who live and scavenge on it for survival, Jade.
On a day when we're celebrating exceptional achievements, you couldn't meet someone who epitomises that more than the young woman you're about to see. Take a look.
Living at the garbage dump, I did not have purpose. My life was simply living one day to another day, and that's it, just following what everyone else is doing.
For decades, thousands of people trapped in poverty lived on Cambodia's notorious landfill, Smoky Mountain.
Picking the garbage and sell it for money from early morning until late in the evening, and then I came back home with some money from my parents. That's what I did every day.
For Sophie Ron and her family, the landfill was their only source of income, their home and their provider.
And my parents did the same job, but they went out for scavenging at night, and I did it in the daytime.
The family were lucky to earn just $1 a day.
I didn't have a proper meal every day, so I ate the fruits or food I found on the garbage dump, took out the dirty part and ate the clean part.
Sophie scavenged with her family every day for nearly a decade.
I actually was aware there was a better life out there, but it's just I couldn't get the chance. I didn't have the chance.
Sophie lived in a cycle of hopelessness, but her way out came in the form of a philanthropist. Scott Neeson founded the Cambodian Children's Fund, an organisation that aims to lift children out of poverty through education. When Scott met Sophie, she was just 8 years old.
He was like, "Do you want to study English?" And then I told him, "Yes, I want to study English, but what is English?" I had no idea what English was back then. And then he laughed, and then he gave me his name card, and he promised to take me to school. And then my mom just took the name card and ran straight to him and told him that you promised to take my daughter to school, so yeah, she's here for you to take to school. After I go to school, they provide me everything: bedroom to sleep in, 3 meals a day, water to shower. It seems so unreal for me, but it's actually real. Yeah, that's what I've never thought of before, not even dreamt of.
Such a massive shift meant that Sophie was experiencing life as it should be, with all its trimmings.
I had a lot more friends, and people were very supportive of what I do, and a lot of teachers. It feels very nice to have someone to tell you what's wrong and right and to teach you things, and I feel like I belong to this world. It's not just me out there alone doing the garbage dump and had no one to talk to. Because, back then I had no friends, no nothing. But after that, it's completely different world for me.
Sophie's now 21 and in her second year at Melbourne Uni. Of all the opportunities now available to her, she's chosen to study international relations.
If Scott didn't show up somehow and then didn't spoke to me about bringing me over to school, I think it's so risky out there, I would have died. I do a lot of pinching myself to see whether I'm in a dream. Because it's really it seems very impossible for me, but somehow I got here.
Wow, what an amazing story, Jo, and it just shows what people can achieve if they're given a chance. Amazing.
Oh, absolutely, and I find it incredible that even amongst those conditions on one of the bleakest places in the planet, Sophie had that big, beautiful smile in her still.
Yeah, amazing. And empowering and celebrating women continues after the break with another remarkable woman who's supporting other women and the planet. That's next on the House of Wellness.
That.
You're watching the House of Wellness, where today we're spotlighting women and all their achievements for International Women's Day. Jo's with us as always, but Jade, our special guest. Can I ask both of you, is there a female role model that stood out in your life?
I have so many. For my generation, I would say Oprah, for her incredible life story, her career and her spirituality has really inspired me. But there are so many in your generation as well, Jade.
Yeah, for me, I think anyone who is challenging expectations, I guess. But I definitely have one role model who sort of stuck with me throughout my journey, and that was Villa. And she's an Icelandic woman who's done so many crazy adventures like Everest and South Pole, and she inspired me to do my own adventure.
And Jade, you just met, did you, at base camp incidentally, or did you seek her out?
No, we were travelling with an expedition who was aiming to reach the summit, and she was part of that group. Yep. So I just sort of kept walking off with her and hearing her stories, and then, eventually she inspired me to start my own.
Yeah, great stuff.
So
well, one of the best ways to combat gender inequality is to highlight the remarkable accomplishments being done by women of all generations. And Jo, this week you met someone who's supporting women in a very real way.
Oh, she's truly amazing. Stephanie Devine is a support story like no other that gives hope for breast cancer patients and also for a more sustainable planet. 15 years ago, Stephanie had the world at her fingertips.
I had a really successful executive search business. I'd been a headhunter for many years in London and Sydney, and I was absolutely at the top of my game, feeling like, a master of the universe. And then suddenly, out of the blue, I found a lump, and my life just changed beyond all recognition within the space of a few days. You feel very different from everyone else in that you don't have that natural sense that you're going to be here in 5 years' time, and that's quite isolating. I think everybody walks around in high conviction that they're going to be going on holiday in 3 months' time or going to be doing this, and when you're going through it yourself, you really don't know.
As she battled her way through treatment, Stephanie's life was forever changed.
It all happens very, very quickly, and one of the first things you're told is that you need to have a non-wired bra and a natural fibre to see you through treatment. And the only ones I could find were maternity bras, and I'd just been told I'd never have kids after chemo. So it was an enormously confronting thing to happen, and I felt that as a woman and as a female consumer, I'd kind of just fallen off the map, and it really stuck with me that at a difficult time, women shouldn't have to be faced with this sort of additional burden. So I started making bras with some friends who happened to be in the industry, made out of organic cotton. So they were really beautiful, fun bras, but they were always quietly fit for purpose for a woman going through breast cancer.
Slowly but surely, bras became Stephanie's full-time gig. But as her knowledge of the industry grew, her positive vision expanded.
Trump had just been elected in the US, and women were burning their bras in the street. That whole Helen Reddy movement was happening again. And at the same time, in Delhi in India, poor people were dying in their dozens because they were burning rubbish, and it was so toxic that it was killing them. And it really crystallised in my mind then that I wanted to make something that was so clean that it could be burned or buried at end of life, and it would leave no trace.
After striking a deal with a small overseas factory, Stephanie set out to achieve the impossible.
When I first decided to do it, and I thought, I am going to create the world's first zero-waste bra, I had no idea how hard it was going to actually be, and if you knew how hard it was to do, you would never do it. But you just chip away at it bit by bit. My factory kept trying new things and sending them to me, and then they'd say, well, it's just got a little bit of glue in it, and I'd say, well, it's just a little bit too much glue for me, so we're going to have to start again. And I think in the end, all of my suppliers and my factory realised just how dogmatic I was going to be about it and that I wasn't going to give in. And so they kind of had to go on that journey with me.
The result of that journey is a bra made entirely of globally sourced organic materials. The fabric, the elastic, even the tag.
So it can go into compost. It can actually be buried in soil. We had one put into a worm farm and the worms ate it within 8 weeks, which was phenomenal. These are for the courier time running, so we've got a bit more time to do that. 92 million tonnes of clothing goes into landfill globally every year. Everything that we buy, every choice that we make as a consumer has an impact on the environment in which we live. And my business grows, 30 to 100% a month, which is, I think, a really great endorsement that people want different things. It's been so hard, but I love what I do. I'm really proud of what I do. I just feel so blessed.
Stephanie's Very Good Bra launched on Kickstarter in May 2018 and raised around $70,000 almost immediately. So the demand is definitely getting out there, Joe.
Oh, and considering the average woman owns around 9 bras and there's 2 billion of us on the planet, do your sums, that's 18 million bras destined for landfill, which is terrible. So it's a fantastic cause to get right behind, don't you think, Jade?
For sure. I think any small business or business that's supporting the environment is worth getting behind.
Hey, Jade and Meister, thank you so much for coming in on International Women's Day. You truly are an extraordinary young woman, and I hope today, and I'm sure it will, that your story is going to inspire many more young women in the future.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, great to have you, Jade. Awesome. From the power of women to heal the planet to 2 of our favourite blokes looking after your health, here's Gerald and Heidi with a sweet remedy for muscle aches and pains.
Now, GQ, I hope you're not allergic to nuts because today I'm going to whip you up my famous choc peanut butter pudding and it is so, so good.
I just love nuts, Heinz. Particularly like cashews. Did you know you can't buy cashews with a shell because the shell is actually toxic. It's related to poison ivy. That's why we see cashews as they are, but I prefer them wrapped in chocolate.
You are always full of fun facts, GQ, but I've got to say the reason I love nuts specifically is because they're packed with healthy fats, in particular omega-3s, which keep me feeling fuller for longer, and as a notorious snacker, it's something that I need a lot of.
And that's very important, but nuts are probably famous for their content of that mighty mineral magnesium.
Now, am I right in magnesium's fantastic for managing depression and also lowering cholesterol?
It's a very versatile mineral, Heinz. It gets most of its reputation with its involvement with muscles and nerves. So it's responsible for contraction and relaxation of nerve function. So very important for healthy nerve function. And if we don't have enough magnesium, that's when we find you get cramps, spasms, aches, pains.
Ouch, we want to try to avoid all of those. I'm just going to blend this baby up. GQ, I gotta say, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, this is looking absolutely incredible. It's creamy, it's smooth, and it's chocolatey, and most importantly, it is nutty. Now, speaking of nuts, mate, I gotta say, would we need to eat a hell of a lot of this type of food to get enough magnesium for daily health and well-being?
I would go nuts, Heinzie, trying to eat enough of this superb preparation here, and that's why it's worth considering a supplement. Did you know 1/3 of Australians have low levels of magnesium? And that's especially relevant in teenagers and people over 70.
So I'd need to make a big batch of these so that we've got teenagers and over 70s covered off.
Yes.
And I tell you what, they'll be packed full of magnesium.
And don't forget mine, Heinzie.
The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Ethical Nutrients Mega Magnesium Range, Australia's #1 magnesium range in pharmacy.
Welcome back. It's World Glaucoma Week, a disease that affects around 300,000 Aussies and is the #1 cause of irreversible blindness worldwide. Here to tell us more is the President of Glaucoma Australia. Welcome, Simon Skalitsky. Hello, Simon.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We've all heard about glaucoma and know it affects eyesight, but what exactly is it?
So glaucoma is an eye disease where pressure builds up in the eye and that pressure damages the nerve at the back of the eye, the optic nerve. It's a delicate nerve that connects the eye to the brain, and that can lead to loss of vision over time and even blindness.
So I'm told that it's 2 in 100 people in Australia develop glaucoma in their lifetime, but that does raise to 1 in 8 for people over 80. So there's a lot of people in our community struggling with this. What are the causes?
Yeah, it's a common condition, and as you said, it gets more common as we get older. It generally comes down to the genes, actually, and we're learning more and more about how genes influence glaucoma. And it's not just 1 or 2 genes. That's why it's not a simple relationship like if one parent has it, then you've got a 50% chance of having it. There's lots of genes and each at a tiny bit of the risk, and pulled together determines one's risk of glaucoma.
Simon, am I right that 50% of people living with glaucoma don't even know they have it? Are there no signs or symptoms?
Yeah, so that's a good point. Generally not in the early stages. In the early stages of glaucoma, we don't know that there's a problem. We can't feel our eye pressure, and if the vision starts to be affected, it's vision to the sides, peripheral vision, and we don't notice it. And it's only when it gets more advanced that it affects our central vision, and that's when we notice it. But the important point is we want to pick it up early. We want to pick it up before people notice there's a problem.
Can it be prevented, or is there a cure?
It can certainly be prevented. Early detection is the key. If we pick it up early, we can lower the eye pressure in the eye and halt it. We can stop it from getting worse.
So how do you detect it early then?
Well, that's the key. World Glaucoma Week, our message is go and get your eyes checked. Everyone 50 years and older should be getting their eyes checked every 2 years at the optometrist, because they can pick it up before it causes a problem.
And it's not a given that if you have glaucoma that you will eventually go blind?
Definitely not. And I'm a glaucoma specialist and I see lots of patients with glaucoma, and that certainly is an unspoken fear and anxiety. And it's important to address that. In the past, yes, things were not as good as they are today. And I firmly believe that today, with early detection, better treatments and just more public awareness, we can lead to great outcomes if we pick it up early.
Well, apparently when people are diagnosed with glaucoma, they don't use their eye drops correctly. How much of a risk is this?
That's a big problem, and as I said before, the key to glaucoma is lowering the eye pressure, and eye drops are a common way of doing that, but they can sting, they can be irritating, and people often don't use them, and so yes, they might get worse despite that.
So Glaucoma Awareness Week is all about encouraging everyone to get an eye test in the hope of diagnosing more people early. You can head to Glaucoma Australia or to our website to find out more. Simon, thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, just as our vision can start to go downhill as we age, so does our body's ability to produce collagen. This means that for most people, things like wrinkles, crow's feet and age spots start to appear. Heinz,
hey, don't look at me. Hey, I get nervous as well. Well, interestingly, guys, collagen is one of the most abundant proteins in our body, but from the age of 25 onwards, we stop producing as much of it. And things like alcohol, refined sugar and UV damage all prevent us producing more collagen. But it is so good for us: hair, skin, nails. It's basically the glue that holds us together. Now, speaking of glue, our resident nutritionist Zoe and our great mate Steph Lowe have joined forces like this glue to cook up a healthy collagen treat.
As a 41-year-old, I think it's so important to age gracefully. And a big contributing factor to that is our body's production of collagen. Today, I'm going to whip up an acai breakfast bowl, which will not only look beautiful, but will help to promote beauty on the inside by using all these delicious ingredients that help to promote the collagen production, which we know our skin absolutely loves.
So collagen is a type of protein. It actually makes up 1/3 of the body's total protein. It really binds the body together so that the cells are nice and tight. So when we look at things like skin, the skin structure is really tight and strong, and so therefore it contributes to the skin's function and texture.
I'm going to add the frozen banana. I love using banana. It's rich in potassium, vitamin A, and as we know, vitamin A is fantastic for the skin. It not only helps to hydrate skin, but it also keeps it looking radiant.
Our natural collagen production slows down in our late 20s and 30s, but we can increase our collagen levels with a whole food diet, so making sure that we are consuming foods that are rich in vitamin C and vitamin A, so really looking to increase our antioxidant levels.
I'm going to add a selection of berries. And as we know, berries are high in antioxidants and vitamin C, but particularly strawberries, because they help to spur the collagen fibres in our body. And as we know, this will help to keep our skin lovely and smooth. For an extra collagen boost, add a powdered supplement. It's flavourless and can blend in with smoothies, beverages, but of course, my breakfast bowl.
We can definitely tell if we're low in collagen by certain signs and symptoms. So fine lines and wrinkles are going to be a lot more obvious if we are low. Rosehip is extracted from the seeds of rose bushes. Rosehip and collagen work together because rosehip is a beautiful source of vitamin C. Now, vitamin C is our precursor to collagen production. So supplementing with collagen plus rosehip is going to add extra nutrients into the system, more vitamin C, all which will promote our inbuilt collagen production.
You've got the beautiful, thick, healthy collagen breakfast base. And then I'm going to add a little bit of granola, extra fibre, but I like the crunch. And then, of course, that freshness that you get from the blueberries. Blueberries are also bang on when it comes to antioxidants. And again, more fibre. Who doesn't need more fibre in their diet? And last but not least, add a little bit of coconut. This is definitely beauty in a glass, and your skin is going to thank you for it.
Welcome back here at the House of Wellness. We've had lots of discussions about bees and the healing power of honey. Joe, my mum swears by eating honey in the same postcode has completely cured her hay fever.
Wow. Well, quite rightly, there's a real bee resurgence, apart from your mum. All of us are loving it. So lots of people I know are actually learning how to become beekeepers and producing their own honey, which is adorable.
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't love a bee? They're cute, they're smart, and did you know they're responsible for pollinating 1 out of every 3 bites of food that we eat?
And you know what? Honey has been used as a form of food and medicine for for however long your mum's been around, Darcy. I love...
Mum would be happy to hear that.
Yeah. And it tastes sensational. But you can talk to me after the show. But when it comes to choosing natural beauty products that are good for you and for Mother Earth, our buzzing buddies are also the bee's knees.
Hi, I'm Jade Kisnorbo, and I'm all about the latest beauty, hair and makeup trends.
And I'm Polly Harding, and working in radio, I've still got a lot to learn about the beauty biz.
Together, we're going to bust those beauty myths,
Strip things back to basics, and learn a few new tricks in the process. Jade, you do makeup on people all the time. Number 1 pet peeve?
I'd have to say a dry lip.
Really? Out of anything?
It's up there because if you're a makeup artist and you're trying to apply an amazing red lip, even a nude, if you've got all flaky lips, horrible. First place that really shows dryness and dehydration is your lips. Whenever I have a client sit in my chair that I'm going to do for an event or a photo shoot even, first thing I'll do after cleaning their face is applying lip balm or any hydration to the lips. Do you wear lipstick?
Sometimes.
Are you more of a nude lipstick girl or no?
I can be, but I've just got to get the right one.
So what's really important when you're using a lip balm is that it doesn't change the product you're putting on top. If it is, e.g. a lip liner or a lipstick. And I think I found in the past, when you're moisturising the lips, it changes the effect of the lipstick. The thing I do love about the Burt's Bees Beeswax lip balm is that you don't get that. It just keeps the makeup looking how it should do whilst moisturising the lips.
I can smell people.
How good is it? So the great thing about a lip balm is forget about the hydrating. It actually works as an amazing primer, and that's the part that I love to use it for.
Does it help the lipstick stay longer?
It does, and it also makes sure that, say you were now going to use a red lip or even a nude, it's all smooth, it's all ready to apply that colour on. The next step would be a liner. I'm going to just apply kind of a natural colour, and as you can see, liners, what they do is they basically make the colour stay and last for a lot longer than if you're just using a lippy. So we've done the bottom
How
line.
much liner do you put on? I always just think you do the outline bit, is it?
No, I actually fill in your lip.
Okay.
So mine's just for longevity. The final step after you've applied the liner and the primer would be the lipstick or lip gloss. Today I'm going to use a lipstick rather than a lip gloss, but I'm only going to apply it to kind of the middle section of your lip. So where your Cupid's bow is, apply it here. It's almost like a highlight of the lips. I'm using this. It's a slightly lighter colour than your lip liner. And then just to the bottom part here, almost in a like heart shape. Just
Is it so you don't go over the lines?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. It's more I love you. It's more just the overall colour of what I want. I don't want to have it even the whole way. I want it to look like this part of your lips is a little bit fuller than the rest.
You actually taught me something.
Burt's Bees are running a Bring Back the Bees campaign and are donating $1 from every special pack of products sold to the Ween Bee Foundation. So head to their website to find out how you can get on board.
GQ, autumn is here, the leaves are turning brown, but just because summer is over doesn't mean we can leave the sunscreen at home.
Definitely not, Jo. Unfortunately, skin cancer is called Australia's national cancer because the stats show that 2 out of 3 of us will have a skin cancer diagnosed before we're 70.
Wow.
But it's one of the preventable cancers.
Absolutely. So we've had the message drummed into us. We've got to wear a hat, sunglasses and sun protective clothing. We've got to get into the shade and, of course, wear sunscreen.
Exactly, Jo, but the important thing is not to base your sunscreen and your sun protection on temperature because UVA and UVBs aren't related to temperature, which is why it's so important to apply a sunscreen every day, even in winter.
So how often should we be applying it?
Well, remember that a sunscreen isn't a suit of armour. You don't put it on once and then forget about it for the whole day. And you need to apply it each day, liberally and often. So it's habit. You get into the habit of applying a sun care product to clean skin, both face and body, and particularly develop the routine, and especially under makeup.
OK. What if I've gone swimming? How often should I be reapplying it?
The best practice, Jo, 20 minutes before you go out into the sun or before you go for a swim. Apply your sunscreen product then, and that allows the product to actually be absorbed into the skin and gives you best protection. But if your sunscreen product is water resistant, then 40 minutes after you've had a swim, or if you're a heavy perspirer, you need to reapply.
Now, what if we were a little bit naughty or a little bit slack and we do experience sunburn? Water can help?
Not just normal water, Jo, but we're talking here about thermal spring water. So this is naturally occurring water that occurs deep underground, rich in minerals and other nutrients. So it's essentially free from pollution and bacteria, stored there for 40 or 50 years. Now, thermal spring water brings many benefits for sensitive skin, particularly helping soothe the effects of sunburn and other skin irritations like eczema, shaving rash, redness, irritation. And thermal spring water is actually used at the Devine Hydrotherapy Centre in France.
Fancy. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. 2,800 patients per year for many skin conditions are treated there.
Well, that is amazing. And does it help us if we don't have a skin condition?
Well, it does, Jo. Thermal spring water can be part of your skincare regime every day, and you could even use it today on a studio day to help your superb makeup, Jo.
Well, I'm not sure I need much help, but I'm going to give them that tip. You'd be pleased to know that I do have sunscreen on, though, under my makeup, as I always do, because I'm well protected from even these beautiful, powerful studio lights. Thank you so much for your insight, GQ.
Great stuff, guys. Thank you. From preventing skin cancer and sunburn to finding a cure for sick Aussie kids, Heinzie laces up the runners and hits the road next. Welcome back. Today, as we know, is International Women's Day, and we're celebrating just some of the inspirational females we know, including our very own Jo Stanley.
Oh, thanks.
Jo, I think it's fair to say that you have done more than your fair share for promoting equality for young women, so well done to you.
Well, thank you so much. I think we want equality for all women of all ages, but don't you think it's our responsibility in our generation, men and women, to really empower our young girls and our young women to step into their potential? That's what we're here for.
Yes.
Couldn't agree more. There's someone else that I have the pleasure of sharing the couch with every week, and he's one of the most giving guys I know. It could be helping our mate Gus Warren giving us all health advice and occasionally cooking some healthy food for us, only occasionally, and getting behind so many great causes for charity out in the community. And of course, I'm talking about you, Heinzie, so well done to you as well, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. I've always said if I'm fortunate enough to work in the public eye, I want to use that platform to help as many people as possible.
And you do help many people, so tell us what you got up to last weekend.
So I went to Geelong over the weekend and I started to pound the pavement to raise incredible awareness with the most empowering people I think I have ever met for the Walk for Duchenne. Now, it aims to fight the muscle degeneration disease, Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Okay, now DMD, which is it's referred to sometimes, affects really young kids, now particularly boys. Now, having met a number of those boys, but their families, it takes a toll on not only them as a family unit, but the whole community around them. Now, the families for 9 days go as sponsored walkers on a 186-kilometre journey all around Australia to visit some of the kids affected, and I couldn't help but jump at the chance to take part.
1, 2, 3.
We're all walking because of this man, Eid, or more specifically, his son Emilio. When Emilio was diagnosed with Duchenne, Ellie got in the ring to fight for him. He started the Walk for Duchenne 6 years ago, and to date it's raised nearly $20 million. You've got this army of people here, close to 300 kilometres.
Yes.
Across a week. What do you hope to get out of this?
A lot of awareness, a lot of funds raised, and hopefully finding a cure.
Good on you, Heinz. It's a great cause, and those kids are incredibly brave, but obviously need all the support that we can give. Jo?
Absolutely.
Such a reminder to how fortunate we are, and when you meet these families, it really touches you deep within, and it makes you mindful of what you don't complain about and how you can support others.
Yeah, and last year the foundation raised $1 million, and they're hoping to exceed that this year. So head to our website to find out how you can support this great cause, and you'll find all those details and everything from today's show on our website, houseofwellness.com.au. To all the women out there, once again, happy International Women's Day, Jo.
Thank you. That's for everybody. Let's make it our aim to make gender equality and treating all women and all people, yes, with respect, compassion and decency every day, not just today.
Absolutely. Don't forget to tune into the House of Wellness radio show with our very own Jo Stanley on Sundays and now on every week. That's for you, Jo. Looking forward to hearing you again. And joined, of course, by the man behind the health bar, Gerald Quigley. Thanks, as always, to our good friends at Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you next time.